Hello family and friends and fellow YouTubers. This is Kim from Kim's Country Corner, and today I'm at my daughter's house outside of Monroe City, and I'm going to be working on this flower bed. This flower bed we put in the year of Emma's first birthday. Instead of presents, Karen asked that people bring flowers for a new flower garden, and so this flower bed actually just started out with the 4 rose bushes and a few cone flowers, and over the years we have just been adding to it. Every year on Emma's birthday she still continues to get flowers. She also gets toys and clothes and other things too, but we always try to add to her flower garden each year. And it started out being that this end down here was Emma's, and then we added that end down there to be Jeffrey's. And but now they have 3 children and we're not sure where to put another wing, so we just call it the kids garden, because all of the kids come out and they help work in it and they contribute to it. And but Grandma Kim, I usually help to maintain it because Mom is very busy with the 3 kids. The 3 kids are very active in sports and academics and, you know, just busy life. So I try to get out here about once a month, if not more, to help maintain it. And what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be putting in some cone flowers that I had dug up from my apartment that I decided to go with a different color combination up there. So I had these pink cone flowers, and I'm going to add them to Emma's side since hers is mostly pink coloring over here. And then, like I said, Emma usually gets flowers for her birthday, so I'm going to be adding some of her birthday flowers, the cone flowers here. So yes, that's what I'm going to be working on today, but I just kind of wanted to show you one of the gardens that I help to take care of. I garden out at the farm, which I showed you that, and then I have the south side garden at the senior housing, and then I have my own apartment garden, and then I help with this one. So actually there are 4 gardens that I kind of rotate between helping to take care of. And actually out at the farm there are many gardens, so there's actually more than 4, but if you count the farm as like one big project, then that's 4. So farm, Karen's, mine, and then the senior housing. All right, so let's get started putting in these cone flowers. And the first batch I want to get in is the ones that came from my apartment. I'm just going to stick them back here in the back. There are actually 3 separate plants coming from my apartment. 3 separate coneflower plants. They're all pink. But I'm going to be digging them and putting them into a triangle form. So soil is really nice soil because we've been amending it as the years have gone on. Emma turned 6 this year, so this garden is 5 years old because we started it on our first birthday. So It's really a nice day to do this. It's overcast. We have a little bit of rain in the forecast. We haven't had rain forever, so I'm really hoping the forecast holds true. These look a little droopy now, but they will perk back up, or they should. We just put these daylilies in last weekend. They're a little droopy, but they'll bounce back. We're working on the back of the flower bed now. Actually, we kind of have it set up so there's not really a back. We have like this middle section, because when their dad put the dirt in, he kind of mounded up in the middle, and then it kind of slopes down. So we kind of like have a middle part, and then we have like two fronts here. But from the windows, when we look out, we count that as the front, and this is the back. So we are trying to put the taller plants back here. Although these daylilies will not get very big, but you'll still be able to see them. So it all works out. All right, there's those three. Now let's get the other three in. These are powwow berry coneflowers. She got these from Grandma Kim for her birthday. And I always like to plant things in groups of 3 in a triangle formation. Okay friends, so let's just take a real quick look at this garden. We call this the kids' garden. And it's at my daughter's home outside of Monroe City. And like I said, it all started on my granddaughter's birthday. And it started with these 2 pink rose bushes and these 2 red rose bushes. Those were the only items here that were gifted to her. And then over the years, we have expanded to include Asiatic lilies, daylilies. They have not flowered yet, but they'll be putting on flowers here soon, and they're red. This part of the garden is mostly red because my grandson, who inspired this garden, he really liked the color red at that point in time. And I like to balance things, as you guys know. So the bird baths, which are different because the original bird baths had gotten broken during a windstorm. So these are new bird baths this year. But the bird bath acts as my central point. And then on each side I duplicate. So rose, rose, daylily, daylily, Asiatic lily, and then daylily, Asiatic lily, and then in the back, coneflower, and more coneflowers and more lilies. And things have started to spread, so nature doesn't balance the way I do. So some things have spread, and that's okay. And then up here in the front, we really like these dianthuses, which need to be deadheaded, but they're a red. So yeah, and then usually on the ends, the kids like zinnias, and so Karen will scrape off and add some soil here, and they will plant some zinnias right in here under these hummingbird feeders. We have some marigolds that are popping up from last year, so they reseeded themselves. And then here in the center of both places, it's like we have three centers going on. We have this center, which is an old stump from the tree that was cut down. There used to be a tall tree here. When they moved in, they cut it down and they left the stump. And that inspired us to build the flower beds on each side of the stump. So it's really our main central point. And then we have the bird baths as the central points for each section. But around the stump there, we have planted irises, because irises do not need to go very deep. They're a very shallow rhizome, so they go well around stumps. They do need to be dug up and thinned out this year though. And then on top, Karen usually will have a pot, and then there's their little handprints. So, and then down here, we call this Emma's side of the garden. And she has her bird bath, and then her roses, and everything down here is kind of basically pink and purple, but we have added other colors. Karen really liked this coral Asiatic lily. And so it was added. These are a variety of daylilies, pinks and purples mostly. We have some dianthus down here, some marigolds, some more daylilies that will be purple. They're called little grapettes. And then over here on this side, we just put in another batch of little grapettes. Then some coneflowers. And Emma had coneflowers the same year that Jeffrey had coneflowers, and see, Jeffrey's are doing so well. They are so big and strong. But Emma's, for whatever reason, died. So we are replacing them this year. And so there's the group that came from my apartment right there. I think they're going to be fine. And then here are her new ones for her birthday. So yeah, so there is the garden from the backside. And I'm not going to show you the whole house, but the house sits right there, and there are windows there, and they look out the windows at their garden, and it just works out really nice. And then to give you a point of reference, so the house is like right there, and then here is the garden, the kids' garden, and then over here they have a fence row. And along this fence row were just basically wildflowers. There are some wild roses down there. There are some ditch lilies. And Karen made the comment that she'd really like to extend this border. And so some of the leftover irises got moved over here. They need to be deadheaded. And we plan to, whenever we separate the irises this year, we will plant them around this stump here because they do well around stumps, and then that will cover up that area and expand the irises. And then 2 years ago, the other grandmother had given Emma some black-eyed Susans, and they were just like one really small pot. Well, those black-eyed Susans took off and almost devoured that whole garden over there. So we moved them over here to the border, to the fence row border. So these are black-eyed Susans from one little pot, and we split them this year, and they're just huge. And then to add more color to the black-eyed Susan, these are Cheyenne coneflowers. Cheyenne Spirit coneflowers. And so then they will add a pop of color during the summer while we're waiting for the black-eyed Susans to put on flowers. And then this year she got this columbine here from one of her aunts. And so we put it over here because it kind of turns into a bush. So we kind of went from having the one garden to now having a second garden here along the fence row. But the fence row we're not being quite as particular about. We're trying to do it more like a wildflower meadow type garden. So, all right, moving on to the next garden.